If someone had told her that the same life she prayed for would one day squeeze her until she could no longer recognize herself, she would have laughed and called it a lie. But life has a way of testing the very dreams we hold with both hands. Before everything scattered, before the sleepless nights, the silent tears, and the day she walked out of her house not knowing where her feet were taking her, she was just a young woman with a simple plan: graduate, get a good job, and build a peaceful home. Her name was Ezine, a calm, well-brought-up girl from a family that believed in love, education, and doing things the right way. She had just finished her degree in public administration, and the future was looking bright and beautiful, like fresh morning sunlight. Her parents adored her. Her friends envied her calm life and said she was a wife material already, and truly, she was ready to build a home. So when Oyedika, the man she had been dating since her third year, finally proposed, she didn't hesitate. With laughter, dancing, and tears of joy, she became Mrs. Ezine Oyedika the very month she finished her final exams. Everyone celebrated. Even she believed God had arranged a smooth journey for her. After the wedding, she packed her dreams into a small bus and followed her husband to their new apartment. When NYSC call-up letter came, she was excited. She imagined herself as one of those girls who post fine pictures on white and khaki, smiling with joy and captioning it, "Serving my fatherland." She entered camp with 2 buses and the heart of a newly married woman who still believed she and her husband were going to conquer the world together. But on the 5th day of camp, something changed. She woke up feeling very strange, weak, dizzy, and lightheaded. Her body felt heavier than usual. Her roommate teased her. "Madam New Wife, are you sure it's not good news?" The joke sounded harmless until she bought a cheap pregnancy test strip and used it. 5 minutes later, her heart started beating fast, not with excitement but with fear she didn't understand. She stared at the results as her mind ran in circles. She wasn't ready. Not now. Not in camp, and not while she was still trying to figure out who she was as a wife. She stepped outside and dialed her husband. "Oyedika, I think I am pregnant." "Oh, wow. That's okay, we'll figure it out," her husband replied. But she didn't feel reassured. Something inside her whispered that the journey ahead would not be as simple as she imagined. Still, she swallowed her fears and accepted her new reality. She took the results to the right authorities, applied for redeployment, and she was posted to the same state where her husband was working. She resumed her primary assignments teaching in a school, standing for long hours, walking from classroom to classroom, carrying both lesson notes and pregnancy. Every night, she expected support, waited for him to ask how her day went, and she hoped for conversation, laughter, or even companionship. But Oyedika would come home tired, eat, shower, and sleep. No strength for gist, no energy for affection, and no time to look at her swollen feet or her tired eyes. Every new day of NYC felt like she was dragging her body through a journey her mind had not agreed to take. Pregnancy and NYC were two mountains, and she was carrying both on her head. Every morning, she woke up before 5 a.m. She would sweep, boil water, prepare breakfast, and waddle out of the house with swollen eyes and a weak body. She wanted help. She needed it, but she didn't know how to ask. And Oyedika, he wasn't a bad husband, just an absent one. He didn't know that silence can squeeze a woman until she begins to doubt her own words. The pregnancy grew heavier. Her back hurt. Teaching became a torture. Her head pounded daily, and the baby kicked when she wanted to sleep. She tried to talk once. "Oyedika, I am finding it difficult to cope." He didn't even look up when he said to her, "Oh, sorry, Nne. It is work. Everything will be fine soon." Oh, by her 7th month, even her students noticed she was always tired. They would say, "Auntie, are you okay?" And she would smile and reply, "Yes, I am fine," even though her mind was slowly becoming a battlefield. Her own service year was simply survival. Sometimes she asked herself, Is this really the life I prayed for? But she swallowed the question every time. When the day of delivery finally came, she felt a strange mixture of fear, relief, and exhaustion. The labor was long. Her cries tore through the hospital corridor, but when she finally heard her baby's cry, something in her heart softened. Her mother arrived 2 days later and stayed a month. Those 30 days were the best she had felt in a long time. Mama cooked, bathed the baby, massaged her back, washed the clothes, and told her stories that lightened her spirits. Whenever the baby cried, Mama would say, "Give her to me. You just push your baby. Oh. Your body never strong at all." Those words comforted her and they covered her like a warm blanket. When it was 1 month and Mama wanted to leave, Ezine asked, "Mama, must you go today?" Her voice sounded like that of a child begging not to be left alone. Mama sighed. "I am tired, my daughter. I need to go and check your father. Besides, Oyedika is here." Ezine wanted to say, "But he doesn't help." But she swallowed the truth. She didn't want to look weak. She didn't also want Mama to get worried. The moment Mama left, the loneliness returned. Cold, heavy, and uninvited. At night, the baby cried so much that her head pounded. Her stitches hurt, her breast ached, and her back felt like it was breaking. She would breastfeed at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and so on, while her husband slept deeply, snoring, unaware of the storm happening beside him. Sometimes she poked him lightly, hoping he would wake up, but he would turn to the other side and continue sleeping. By morning, she would be exhausted, but still had to bath the baby, clean the house, prepare food, and get ready for NYSC. It felt like her life had turned into an endless circle of crying. The baby's tears at night and her own tears during the day. When she tried to tell Oyedika how she was feeling, he brushed it off. "Ezine, it is normal. Women have been doing this since the beginning of time. You will get used to it." Get used to it? Used to what exactly? Used to never sleeping? Used to swelling breast? Or used to carrying all the load alone? The pressure grew silently. Every day she felt her mind slipping away a little. Some mornings she couldn't recognize herself. Her reflection looked tired, worn out and older. There were days her baby cried for hours non-stop, and Ezine would sit on the floor with the child in her arms crying louder than the baby. Her phone became her only companion. She would scroll through other mothers on Instagram. Mothers will make up. Mothers with smiling babies doing get ready with me videos, and she wondered if something was wrong with her. Some days she fed the baby and still felt no bond. Some other days she looked at the baby and felt guilty for feeling nothing. One morning, she woke up so overwhelmed. The night before had been terrible. The baby cried for hours, crying that pierced her ears and felt like needles in her brain. She had slept for barely 40 minutes. Her eyes burned and her head felt heavy as if she was carrying a rock. By morning, her body was shaking from exhaustion. She breastfed the baby until her nipples hurt. She rocked the child until her arms were numb. She walked around the house until her legs couldn't carry her. But the baby kept on crying. At some point, she whispered, "Please stop. Please." But the baby didn't understand. If she sits to catch her breath, the baby will scream like someone had done something bad. But if she stands, she will become a bit. It was as if she became the weapon fashioned against her. Ezine felt hot and cold at the same time. The room suddenly felt too small and the walls looked like they were closing in on her. She dropped the baby gently on the bed and walked out of the room. She didn't look back. She didn't carry a bag. She didn't lock the door. She only took her phone and walked out of the house, out of her responsibilities and out of herself. She walked past the streets, past the next streets, past shops, past people who didn't know a woman was breaking right before their eyes. Her slippers were dragging on the ground, but she didn't feel it. Her steps were all coordinated, but she didn't notice. Her mind was blank. empty and lost. She took out her phone and tried calling Oyedika. She wanted to tell him to go carry his baby because she didn't want again. I am tired. She's in the house all by herself. If you like, go and carry her. If you like, stay there and be working from morning to night. But the young man didn't pick up. She called again. No response. She didn't know whether to cry or laugh. She dialed her mother. The moment Mama heard her voice, weak, distant and broken, her heart dropped. Ezine, where are you? What's going on with you? But all Ezine could say was, Mama, I don't want again. I can't do this again. Go and carry your grandchild. She's in the house all by herself. Her mother didn't wait for more explanation. She arranged a small bag quickly, rushed out of the house and ran straight to the motor park. She was such in a hurry that halfway to the bus, she looked down and realized she was wearing two different slippers, one green and one brown. She didn't care. A mother knows when her child is in danger, and slippers at that moment didn't matter. Her mind was on her daughter and her grandchild. Back in Ezine's house, the baby was still crying. Loud, hungry and helpless. Neighbors heard the cry and gossiped, but nobody knew the mother had left the house hours earlier, and nobody understood the weight she was carrying. When Mama arrived, she pushed the door gently and it opened immediately. Her heart almost stopped. She rushed to the baby's room. The baby was soaked in tears. Her face was red, her voice hoarse, and her breathing was very fast. Mama's legs weakened. She picked up the baby and pressed the child to her chest. Tears rushed down her face. My God. My God! She quickly rushed to the fridge, brought out express milk and fed the baby. The baby drank like someone who had been fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. She went to the kitchen, boiled water and bathed the baby so well that she slept. When she laid her down, Mama dropped on her knees and cried into her palms. She cried for her daughter. She cried for her grandchild and she cried for the silent suffering no one saw. She called her to return home that she was around. Ezine just said, Oh Mama, you came? How is your grandchild? Is she still alive? Mama assured her that the baby was doing fine and that she had attended to her. Hours later, Ezine returned. Her feet was dusty because she went on a wilderness journey. The moment Mama saw her, she didn't shout. She didn't ask questions. She simply wrapped her arms around her. Ezine began to cry, the heavy cry of a woman who had been holding pain in her chest for too long. Mama guided her to the bathroom, helped her undress, poured warm water on her body, washed her like a baby and led her to bed. She cooked food, fed her and whispered, Sleep, I am here. For the first time in weeks, Ezine slept deeply. I mean, a relaxing sleep that reset her whole system. Mama didn't sleep that night. Even after Ezine drifted into deep, exhausted sleep, she sat on the stool near the bed watching both mother and child like someone guiding precious treasures. Sometimes she wiped her tears with the edge of her wrapper. Sometimes she looked at her daughter's face, swollen, tired, empty, and her heart was squeezed painfully. How could she have missed the signs, the quiet voice of the phone, the fake I am fine mama, and the way Ezine always tried to sound very strong? At midnight, the baby stirred and began to whimper. Mama quickly carried her, fed her, and rocked her. She didn't let Ezine wake up. She understood that her daughter needed sleep more than anything else. By morning, Mama had already bathed the baby, washed the clothes, swept the house, boiled water and prepared breakfast. When Ezine woke up, she looked confused, like someone who wasn't sure where she was. Mama, she whispered. I am here, Mama replied gently. Rest. Don't think about anything. Just rest. Ezine wanted to speak. She wanted to explain and she also wanted to apologize, but Mama placed a finger on her lips. Shh! I understand everything. Trust me. Don't worry yourself. She gave her food, asked her to have a bath, and then told her to sleep again. While Ezine was dozing, Mama sat alone in the sitting room with the baby asleep on her chest. She rocked the child slowly, but her mind was wrestling with fear. What if she hadn't come in time? What if something had happened to the baby? What if something had happened to her daughter? What if Ezine had walked too far and gotten hurt? And what if she had kept on walking and never returned? So many what ifs. The possibilities scared her until her hands shook. She closed her eyes and said a quiet prayer. God, thank you for bringing me here in time. Thank you for preserving this child and thank you for preserving my daughter Ezine. Around 8 p.m., she heard the front door open. It was Oyedika returning from work. He didn't return the previous night because the workload was too much and it was also the last day of the month. He needed to balance the sheets. He stepped inside, stopped halfway when he saw Mama and blinked twice in shock. Mama, you came? He asked. Mama nodded slowly. Yes, sit down please. Something about the tone made him obey immediately. He sat down looking embarrassed and unsure of himself. Mama didn't shout. She didn't raise her voice and she didn't insult him. After a few seconds, she said, You didn't notice your wife was drowning. He lifted his head, startled. Drowning? No, she didn't tell me anything and she never asked for help. Mama shook her head sadly. That's the problem. Women don't always know how to ask. Sometimes the cry for help is in their silence. He opened his mouth to defend himself but closed it again. Mama continued. You see, when you return from work and just sleep, you think you are resting. But what about the person who never rests? The one who carries the baby day and night? He swallowed hard. She doesn't complain, Mama, he said quietly. That's why you should have checked, Mama replied. The words hit him like a heavy stone. He looked down ashamed. Mama sighed. Her voice became even gentler. She almost lost herself, my son. She almost walked to where we could never find her. If anything had happened to her, you would have moved on one day, but I would have buried my child. Those words broke him. His eyes became wet and he wiped them quickly so Mama wouldn't see. I didn't know, he whispered. I didn't know she was struggling like that. Mama reached out and placed the baby in his arms. Hold your child, she said. He held the baby awkwardly at first, but his hands slowly adjusted as he stared at the tiny face. Yesterday, Mama continued, your wife called me and said she doesn't want to be a mother again. She left the baby alone and walked out of this house. If I had delayed, the devil would have had his way. She shook her head and looked at him directly. My son, you have to wake up, oh. Your wife needs you. He slowly nodded, the kind of nod a man gives when he finally understands that love is responsibility, not just marriage certificates. For the next few days, Mama watched everything in that house carefully, not like a visitor but like a mother who had come for a rescue mission. She watched how Ezine flinched each time the baby cried, as if her body remembered pain before her mind did. She watched how her daughter's hands trembled while bathing the baby. She watched how Ezine forced a smile whenever Oyedika came close, pretending she was fine, even when she was breaking inside. Most importantly, Mama watched the marriage. Silent, cold, and lonely. So one Saturday she told Oyedika, my son, can we talk? He swallowed and nodded. He had been expecting this. They sat outside. The breeze was calm, but the topic waiting between them was not. Mama began, Oyedika, do you actually love your wife? He answered immediately, yes, Mama. Of course I do love her. Do you care for her? Yes, Mama. Mama looked at him deeply, the kind of look that pulls the truth out of a person. Yes, Mama, he continued. I care for her, but she doesn't say anything to me. She doesn't ask me for help and she doesn't complain, so I just thought she was coping. Mama nodded slowly. Okay, that's the mistake many men make. You think she's fine because she's not shouting. You think she's strong because she's not crying and she's doing everything. You think she's managing because she's not demanding. She leaned forward. Listen to me, my son. A silent woman is not always a strong woman. Sometimes she's a drowning woman who has accepted her fate. Those words hit him hard. He remembered all the nights Ezinne sat alone, all the mornings she looked tired but forced a smile, and all the days he came home and walked straight to bed without even asking how she was. Guilt gripped him. Why didn't she tell me? He whispered. A real man does not wait to be told. He does the right thing and guides his family jealously, Mama said. Your wife is fighting two battles, motherhood and depression. You need to fight with her and not leave her alone under the guise of she doesn't tell me anything. Don't you think you are feeling woefully in that aspect? And if she learns to live without you, my son, it's going to be disastrous. He asked with tears in his eyes. Mama, what do I do? First, Mama said, you have to apologize from your heart. Second, you both need help. I mean professional help. You will meet a marriage counselor. He looked surprised. Counselor? Yes, Mama replied. People go for antenatal. People go for medical checkups. People go for church programs. So why do you think marriages don't need checkups too? He sighed. He had no arguments. And third, Mama added firmly, you must learn how to be present, not just physically, but emotionally. Later that day, Mama gathered both of them for a conversation. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, and it wasn't judgmental. It was slow, gentle, and honest, the way healing begins. Oyedika turned to his wife and held her hand. Ezinne, I am sorry, he said sincerely. Not because you blame me, but because I didn't notice. I should have been here. I should have listened and I should have helped, but I didn't know you were suffering like this. Ezinne spoke slowly. I didn't know how to ask. I didn't want to be a burden and I didn't want to look weak. But truth be told, I was drowning. He moved closer and hugged her, a real hug, not the quick, tired ones he had given before. I will do better, he assured, and I will be here fully. A few days later, following Mama's insistence, they visited a marriage counselor. In that office, Ezinne poured out everything. The loneliness, the exhaustion, the resentment, the fear, and the moment she almost harmed herself without knowing. Oyedika listened. I mean, really listened, and he saw his wife clearly, not just as the mother of his child, and not just as a woman doing normal things women do, but as a human being with limits, with feelings, and with breaking points. The counselor guided them, teaching Oyedika how to support, how to notice changes, how to ask questions, and how to share responsibilities. When they returned home, Mama looked at them and smiled. Good, she whispered. This is the beginning. But even after that progress, Mama packed her bag and told them one more thing. I will go back with my daughter for a few months. Oyedika looked confused. Mama, but why? We are fine now. Mama shook her head gently. No, my son, no. Healing is not one day. Healing is rest, routine, support, and care. If anything happens to her, you will move on. but I will lose my child forever. She waited for her to sign out from NYSC, and then she carried her daughter and grandchild back home, not out of division but out of wisdom. For the next 3 months, she poured herself into restoring the woman who had been sinking quietly, and slowly, Ezine began to rise again. Mama's house was warm, not because of electricity or a big generator, but because it carried the kind of peace only a mother's presence can give. When Ezine arrived with the baby, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Safety, no pressure, no pretense, and no expectation to be strong. For the first 2 weeks, Mama barely allowed her to lift a finger. She took over everything: bathing the child, rocking her to sleep, preparing meals, washing clothes, massaging Ezine's back with warm water, and reminding her of who she was. Slowly, the fog in Ezine's mind began to clear, and little by little, her strength returned. Some days, she asked herself, is this the same me who almost walked away from my own child? The memory scared her, but it also humbled her. She wasn't mad, she wasn't wicked, and she wasn't ungrateful. She was simply a woman who carried too much alone. Oyedika called every day, not the usual short, tired calls. These ones were long, patient, and full of understanding. How are you feeling today? Did you sleep well? Have you eaten? Are you okay emotionally? He asked questions he had never asked before, and he listened like a man who had learned something valuable, that love isn't silent and care isn't guessed. He also sent money regularly without being reminded, not as help but as responsibility. Whenever he visited, Mama watched him closely the way only mothers do. He saw his efforts. He saw the new softness in the way he carried the baby. She saw the way he hugged his wife without rushing. She was so happy that healing was happening not from one side but from both. After 3 months, Mama noticed how Ezine laughed again. Not the tired first smile she used to give, but real laughter. And so she called her and said, "My daughter, you are ready to go back." Ezine's eyes softened. "Mama, thank you. I don't know how to repay you." Mama tapped her gently. "You don't repay a mother because nothing on earth can quantify the worth of a good mother. You take care of yourself and live well. That's enough." They returned home to Oyedika, a home that now felt different, not because of new furniture or decorations, but because both husband and wife had been renewed. They talked, they shared responsibilities, they prayed together, they checked on each other's emotion, they built a system that protected both of them. And the biggest change? Ezine found her voice. When she was tired, she said it. When she needed help, she asked. When something wasn't working, she explained, and Oyedika listened. Months later, when she got a job, she felt even stronger, like a woman who entered fire and walked out shining. Before pregnancy, she once dreamt of having 4 children, but after her experience, she sat down and advised herself, "Bia, 2 children is enough." She eventually had her second baby under much better conditions, more support, more preparation, more understanding, and this time, motherhood felt different. Hey, African Tales by Kamo Tribe, how are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. If there is one message you should carry away from this story, it is that postnatal depression is real, not imaginary, not overthinking, not just stress, and not "she will be fine." It is a silent storm that many women face after giving birth. A storm most people don't talk about because they assume childbirth is all joy and celebration. Let me say this thing clearly. Going into the labor room and coming out alive is not a child's play. It is a battle between life and death. It is a miracle wrapped in pain, blood, fear, and courage. Some women push for hours. Some bleed, some undergo surgery, and some almost lose their lives. All of them walk out of that room changed forever, physically, emotionally, and mentally. So when the world expects a new mother to smile, cook, clean, breastfeed, host visitors, and behave as if nothing happened, it is unfair, it is unrealistic, and it is dangerous. A new mother needs care, help, rest, and support. Most women don't complain because society taught them to be strong, but inside they are breaking with sleepless nights, endless crying from the baby, hormonal changes, pain from stitches, swollen breasts, constant anxiety, loneliness, fear, and the pressure to be perfect, especially with their stomach. All this can crush a woman silently. Some begin to cry uncontrollably. Some feel disconnected from their babies. Some feel guilty for feeling overwhelmed. Some walk around with heavy sadness. Some start imagining running away. And some even think of harming themselves without understanding why. This is not madness. This is not ingratitude. This is not weakness. It is called postnatal depression and it deserves attention. So, to every husband, sibling, parent, or friend watching this, care for that new mother. Check on her. Ask questions. Offer help. Give her rest. Share responsibilities. Be present. Be patient and be kind. Don't assume she's fine because she's quiet. Don't assume she's coping because she's not shouting. And don't assume that she's strong because she's smiling. Because behind that smile may be a woman battling darkness she doesn't know how to describe. And to every woman going through this right now, I want you to know that you are not weak and you are not a bad mother. You are simply a human and humans need help. Speak out, seek support, tell someone how you feel, and don't hide your pain because of shame. Motherhood is a blessing. Oh yes, but you have to know that childbirth is not a normal event. It is a life-changing experience requiring love, care, and understanding. So stand up, get all the help you need unapologetically. On this note, I sign out from today's story. Kindly give it a thumbs up. Share out your thoughts with me in the comment section as I will be responding to everyone as usual. If you have not subscribed to Karma channel, what are you waiting for? Click on that subscribe button so that you can join us. Until I bring the next interesting story your way, it is a goodbye from here and God bless you.